Hello and welcome to a conversation with Musa Wa Laikipia. Thank you for listening, and this is that episode of Talking to Teenagers on Sex and Sexuality, a guide to parents. Sexuality, of course, is a very tough and sometimes a controversial topic to discuss, and more so when you have to discuss it with your own children, and more so the teenagers. Yesterday, we discussed on the tips for discussing sexuality with your teenager. Today we continue with these tips. Number one, accept the role of sex educator as a parent. Most young people want their parents to provide them with information about sex and sexuality, but they are not sure on how to start this conversation. And therefore, as a parent, you must take the role of a sex educator. Number two, become knowledgeable about sex and sexuality as a parent, but don't think you are an expert. No, you are not. Often, you and your teenagers can find answers together. Then number three, accept that it may be awkward and embarrassing to talk to your teenager about sex, but then do it anyway. Along with these facts, talk about the feelings, relationships, and how other people can be affected by what this teenager does. Their actions will always affect other people. You must let them know that very clearly. If they get pregnant, it will affect other people. If they get sex or sexual transmitted infections or diseases, it will also affect other people. Ensure there are resources in your home where the teenager can get accurate information. If youth have access to appropriate books, they will probably read them, even if they won't talk to you. You can also, as a parent, recommend books that can be used by your teenagers, or even videos or website. But before you do that, make sure you preview them and ensure they are age appropriate. You also need to answer questions directly, honestly, and without judgment. If you don't know the answer as a parent to a question, say so and tell them that you'll find out and get back to them. And when you promise that, parents, do it. And then, of course, next, change or take advantage of those moments that arise. We said this in the first episode, that you need to make the advantage or take advantage of those moments that arise when on the television, where you can ask them to share their views. For example, you can probably reading a newspaper or magazine, or while listening even to the radio. And also you need to communicate your values, like we said yesterday, honestly, and expect them to be challenged. Teenagers want to be independent and have their own identities. And then also you need to accept that you can't control all of your teenagers' actions. Promote their ability to take responsibility of their actions. And also you need to recognize that you may not understand what your teenager is experiencing. Of course, that one does not mean that you cannot talk to your teenagers. Talk with with other parents and the parents of teenagers. Also talk to the public health officers. Talk to us counselors. Inbox us and ask us questions, book sessions that we can discuss about these issues and how you can talk to your to your two children or your teenagers. Stress that they need to expect consequences, like we said yesterday. All the actions, sexual actions, that these young people or teenagers perform or do, they are going to have consequences, and therefore you must let them know that. Lastly, but not the least for today, I know this is controversial, but you must get a way of talking to your children about even the contraceptives. Many parents think when you teach about condoms, these young people will go and practice. This is a myth. You must tell your children about these things, because even if you do not tell them, they are going to be told in school, and therefore you must tell them what contraceptives are there. Tell them what they do. Parents, I know this is hard, but even if you do not tell them, they will pop up on the television, on those tablets that you have bought them, on those phones that you have bought for them. These things will always pop out. But like I said yesterday, even after listening to these 3 episodes of talking to teenagers of sex and sexuality, parents, you might still be saying, Musa, this is a tough one and I need your help. Talk to us. Talk to Destiny Shapers Mentorship Program. Inbox us. Tell us where you are. You can also visit our offices, Taksha Consultancy in Nanyuki, and we'll be able to talk to you parents and also talk to your children about this not very controversial topic that, like I have said, it must come. The role or the first responsibility of teaching teenagers on sex and sexuality, it is not to the teachers, it is not for the church.